Coffee is beneficial because it contains caffeine, a powerful brain stimulant, and hundreds of antioxidants that protect cells, improve focus, and lower the risk of many diseases like diabetes, heart problems, and neurodegenerative disorders. It becomes addictive because caffeine changes brain chemistry over time, making the brain dependent on it for normal alertness and mood. So stopping suddenly causes withdrawal symptoms like headaches, fatigue, and irritability. Below is a detailed science-backed explanation of why coffee is so good for the body and why it hooks us so strongly, written in a way that can be expanded into a long article or video script. How coffee works in the body. Coffee is not just a drink. It's a complex natural drug that affects almost every system in the body, especially the brain and nervous system. The main active ingredient is caffeine, a methylxanthine compound that easily crosses the blood-brain barrier and directly influences how neurons fire and how neurotransmitters behave. When coffee is consumed, caffeine is absorbed quickly in the small intestine and enters the bloodstream within about 15 to 45 minutes. Because caffeine is both water-soluble and fat-soluble, it can dissolve in blood and also pass through cell membranes, including those of the brain, which is why its effects are so fast and widespread. Once in the brain, caffeine's primary action is to block adenosine receptors, especially the A1 and A2A subtypes. Adenosine is a neurotransmitter that builds up in the brain during waking hours and makes us feel sleepy and mentally foggy. It's like the body's natural sleep signal. By blocking adenosine, caffeine prevents this signal from working, so the brain stays more alert and awake. But caffeine doesn't just block sleepiness. It also indirectly increases the activity of other key neurotransmitters like dopamine, norepinephrine, and glutamate. Dopamine is linked to pleasure, motivation, and reward, while norepinephrine boosts attention, heart rate, and energy. This dual effect, reducing fatigue while increasing alertness and mood, is why coffee feels so powerful and why people rely on it daily. Outside the brain, caffeine also stimulates the adrenal glands to release adrenaline, epinephrine, which prepares the body for fight or flight, increasing heart rate, blood pressure, and blood sugar, and making muscles more ready for action. This is why many people feel a physical jolt or buzz after their first cup, especially on an empty stomach. Why coffee is so addictive. Coffee is addictive not because it's a hard drug like nicotine or opioids, but because caffeine creates a mild but real physical and psychological dependence over time. This dependence happens through several interconnected mechanisms in the brain and body. 1. Adenosine receptor upregulation. When caffeine regularly blocks adenosine receptors, the brain adapts by making more of these receptors. This is called receptor upregulation, and it means that over time, more caffeine is needed to achieve the same level of alertness. 2. Dopamine and the reward system. Every time a person drinks coffee and feels more alert, focused, and in a better mood, the brain associates that feeling with the act of drinking coffee. Over time, this creates a strong habit loop. Cue, morning, stress, boredom, to behavior, drink coffee, to reward, alertness, mood boost. 3. Tolerance and dependence. Regular coffee drinkers often develop tolerance, meaning they need more coffee to get the same effect. This happens because the brain and body adapt to the constant presence of caffeine, so the same dose no longer feels as strong. Headaches, due to changes in blood flow and adenosine rebound. Fatigue and drowsiness, adenosine flooding unblocked receptors. Irritability, anxiety or low mood, dopamine and norepinephrine dropping. 4. Reduces risk of type 2 diabetes. One of the most consistent findings in nutrition research is that coffee drinkers have a significantly lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Large studies show each additional cup of coffee per day is associated with about a 6 to 7% lower risk of type 2 diabetes. People who drink 3 to 4 cups per day have up to 25 to 30% lower risk compared to non-drinkers. 5. Supports heart health in moderation. For many years, coffee was blamed for raising blood pressure and causing heart problems, but modern research shows that moderate coffee consumption is actually linked to better heart health for most people. Benefits include lower risk of heart failure and stroke in moderate drinkers, reduced risk of death from cardiovascular causes,